Welcome to Workday Compensation Proposed Compensation Change. In this session, we'll learn about the proposed compensation change business process and how job changes can impact an employee's compensation assignments. Proposed compensation change is a sub-process of the change job business process and is not available as an ad hoc task. Job or location changes, such as demotions, promotions, or transfers, could impact an employee's compensation. Through a change job event, an employee may have an increase or decrease in pay, or become eligible for different allowance, bonus, or stock plans. Workday reevaluates an employee's eligibility and determines what components to add or remove during the initiation step of the proposed compensation change sub-process within the overall change job business process. For an active employee, Workday evaluates their current compensation and then defaults any new or proposed compensation for which they become eligible. When proposing compensation changes, you can remove manually the compensation for which the employee is eligible and add new components to assign to the employee. If you intentionally assign an employee to a plan for which they are not eligible during a previous transaction, then the system will reevaluate and remove the plan when a new proposed compensation change event initiates for the employee. If this removal occurs, you will need to restore the plan manually, assuming that the employee should remain assigned to that component. Now that we've reviewed the function of the proposed compensation change sub-process, let's demonstrate the compensation partner's role in the process. Meet Brian Sullivan, our compensation partner for Global Modern Services. Brian needs to relocate an employee from London, UK to Chicago, USA. He will request a compensation change by relocating an employee. This transfer will change the employee's location and, as a result, their manager, compensation, and currency. Diane Warwick, a member of the Field Sales EMEA Group organization, is moving from London to Chicago. As Brian, from Diane's related actions, I'll select the job change task. I'll enter the information in the Start Details section, including the date, the reason for transfer, and the new work location of Chicago. I won't make changes to their manager or organization. Let's save the changes and select Start. The next page of the Change Job template allows us to make changes to Diane's job details. Since I'm not modifying any other worker data, let's skip to the Location section. Chicago defaults, since I entered this change in the Start Details section. Next, let's review the compensation details. Notice that Diane's compensation has changed. As a result of moving from London to Chicago, Workday re-evaluated the currency, compensation grade profile, and plan profile eligibility and automatically applied the changes. Without any additional changes, I'll select Submit. Depending on your configurations, a partner or manager may need to review and approve the changes as part of the transactional workflow. In this case, the receiving manager is up next. Once the transaction is complete, compensation changes will go into effect on the selected date in the Start Details. This example highlighted the following key takeaways to remember. Workday allows your administrators to configure a flexible proposed compensation change business process. Workday allows your administrators to control security permissions to meet your unique business requirements. You can manage compensation changes as part of the change job business process. Workday will re-evaluate eligibility and defaults in appropriate compensation components, and partners and managers may have permissions to add, remove, edit, and restore previous plans. In this session, we've learned how to propose compensation changes as a sub-process of the change job transaction. We also demonstrated how job changes can impact an employee's compensation assignments. Thank you for taking the time to learn with Workday.